Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again for another Stones of Remembrance story. One of the things that's different, I don't have a lot of rules at our church, especially for the high schoolers and middle schoolers. But one of the things that's different, every year I require the middle schoolers and the high schoolers to sit in every session those 3 weeks hearing all these stories. I mentioned yesterday that I'm excited for one day for my grandkids to hear these stories on Sundays. They're actually going to start hearing them when they get into middle school because Pastor Josh has the service piped over into the middle school environment. They got all their couches and he has popcorn. They do McDonald's one of these weeks. They have all kinds of snacks and I want them to hear their stories. And I want you as parents, even grandparents, bring your kids every single week, every single year, because from 6th grade to 12th grade, in those 6 years, they will hear these same stories and they will look around and they will realize these things really happened. And young people, this is why this is so important. It's because high school, middle school, one of these days soon, you're going to be in college. Hopefully you'll make it to college. And when you're in freshman year of college, some of you high schoolers, you're just a year or two away from this. You're going to have a freshman literature professor or a freshman biology professor or freshman philosophy professor. You shouldn't even take philosophy, by the way. I know sometimes it's the only thing that'll fit in your schedule and you're in philosophy and you got this pipe smoking professor. And here's what they're all going to tell you. Your literature professor, they're going to tell you, hey, your parents believed in this thing, the Bible, and it's all a bunch of fables. It's all a bunch of fake news. They're going to tell you that everything you believe, they're going to tell you, look, your parents needed this, your grandparents needed this crutch, but you are way too smart to believe in this old, rustic, historic, irrelevant book. And you're going to have to make a choice. And I want you to remember me talking to you. Because when that happens, and it will happen, you're going to be like, Pastor Jerry said they would say this. You're going to have to make a choice. Am I going to believe my pastor who loved me all through those years of Vacation Bible School, good morning, VBS, all through high school, all through middle school? Am I going to believe my pastor and all of my parents and grandparents and all the other people who said, yep, that's exactly how it happened? Am I going to believe in those miracle stories? Or am I going to believe this atheist professor that's telling me that none of this is true? Now, I know you're going to make the right choice. I know you're going to still try to get an A or a B in the class, but don't you dare believe that this isn't true. We have these aren't miracles that happened a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. These are the things that happened in your church, our church, as you were growing up, as my kids, as Pastor Josh was growing up, as Kristen was growing up. These are the crazy things that God did in our midst. And the reason why I bring this up is because this is the time of year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, when the atheists come out of the woodwork and they start putting out these memes and they start putting out these videos and a long time ago they used to rent billboards. Those are the things you drive by on the highway. And one time, one of the billboards that I saw, it had like a silhouette of the nativity scene, and it said on top, it said, "This season, choose reason. This is all fake." And what they're saying is the Christmas story is fake. Jesus didn't come. What they're saying is God doesn't exist, that this is all just a big crutch. Look, I have nothing against atheists. In fact, we have had atheists come to our church, and if they stay long enough, like they sort of come in going, hey, I don't even know if there's a God, but if there is a God, I'd like to kind of try to find God or find out if there is a God. This is what I always tell atheists. I said, man, you're welcome here. Come and see. That's what Jesus said. Come and see. We say, come with me to SEC. Come see at SEC what God has done. Because here's the thing. God does all these miracle things where at some point you're just going, that is not a coincidence. How could that have happened? There's God. And what's going to happen is when you hear these stories year after year, you're going to be, when they say, hey, this is all fake, you're going to be going, no, there's no way that, and you're going to choose to believe because you've seen what God has done. Our church in and of itself is a total miracle. We should have not existed. There should not have been a church here on Orange Boulevard when you pulled in. What I mean by that is we planted our church from scratch. We started with like family, and a few friends. There was 11 people at our rehearsal service. 11. Our first service ever, we had 30 people in a funeral home. And 10 of those were out of town well-wishers, family members from Ocala and Gainesville that came down. 30 people started in a funeral home, and we should have gone out of business within the first year. And I know that because they've done statistics, they've done studies. 1 out of 5 churches survive to their first birthday. That means 4 out of 5 fail. 80% fail the first year. It gets worse. By the 5th year, 1 out of 25 survive. 24 out of 25 fail. That's a 4%. It gets even worse. By the 10th year, 1 out of 100. You're down to 1 out of 100 churches that are planted, that are started from scratch like ours, make it to their 10th anniversary. And then it goes crazy. It's fuzzy on the statistics. In the first 25 years, a church plant, only 1 out of 400 to 1 out of 1,000 are still around. We are a statistical miracle. Now, your professor would say, "Oh, it's a coincidence. You're an outlier. You're an anomaly." No, we are a miracle. And these stories that you're going to hear this week, the ones you heard on Sunday, the ones that you're going to hear the rest of this week, is because God is real. He's active in our lives. God still changes lives. He's still in the miracle business. And I tell people who raise this, hey, you come and see. You come and hang out with us for 5 years. Certainly, if you were an atheist that came 10 or 15 years ago and you just watched, you wouldn't be an atheist anymore. Because at some point you're going, I'm going to believe in the Jesus all these people believe in. Because they all believe in it. They all are eyewitnesses to these things that have happened. So I invite you to continue to watch and continue to see. And I hope I'll see you Sunday. If you didn't see last Sunday, go back and watch those stories. They were incredible. And I'll see you tomorrow. God bless you.